Yo, what is up, Nerdy Squad? We're officially back with another video, and this is one I recently caught news of earlier today, and I wanted to talk about it here on my channel because, as you can see clearly, Crisis at Marvel, Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvels reshoots, reviving original Avengers, and more issues revealed. So let's jump into this article. But before we do, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification bell so you're updated every single time your boy drops a new video. So let's jump into this article and see what is going on with Marvel. It says this past September, a group of Marvel creatives, including studio chief Kevin Feige, assembled in Palm Springs for the studio's annual retreat. Most years, the vibe would have been confident, even cocky, given how the premier superhero brand owned by Disney since 2009 has remade the entertainment business in its image. But this occasion was angst written. Everyone at Marvel was reeling from a series of disappointments on screen. A legal scandal involving one of its biggest stars and questions about the viability of the studio's ambitious strategy to extend the brand beyond movies and to streaming. The most pressing issue to be discussed at the retreat was what to do about Jonathan Majors, the actor who has been poised to carry the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but instead is heading to a high profile trial in New York later this month on domestic violence charges. The actor insists he is the victim, but the damage to his reputation and the chance he could lose the case has forced Marvel to reconsider its plans to center the next phase of its interlocking slate of sequels, spin offs, and series around Majors, villainous character Kang the Conqueror. Unfreaking believable, man. So he did try to have the charges dropped, but the judge said, no, we ain't doing it. So, moving forward, it says at the gathering in Palm Springs, executives discussed backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom. Now, I did hear some YouTubers talk about this, and I gotta be honest, I don't really see the point because it would be too much of a change. If it was me in Kevin Feige's shoes, if I felt like my back was against the wall that much, I would probably just hire somebody else to play King the Conqueror. Even though I think, um, the current actor has done a great job. Uh, if I'm in that point, then yeah, I'll just probably hire somebody else. But moving on. But making any shift would carry its own headaches, of course. Majors was already a big presence in the MCU, including as the scene-stealing antagonist in February's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which I really didn't care for. And he has been positioned as the franchise's next big thing in this season of Loki, particularly in the finale, which airs on November 9th and sets up as the King titular star of a fifth Avengers film in 2026. Okay. Of course, you see the article where it says Roddy is Marvel in trouble, and then you got fans walking away from this new crop of, superheroes, of course, mixed with some of the older crew who've been around for a little while. I like the poster though. Moving forward, it says Marvel is truly fucked with the whole King angle, says one top deal maker who has seen the final Loki episode. And they haven't had an opportunity to rewrite until very recently because of the WGA strike. But I don't see a path to how they move forward with him. Beyond the bad press from Majors, the brain trust on Marvel is also grappling with the November release of The Marvels, which everybody has been shitting on. A sequel to 2019's blockbuster Captain Marvel that has been plagued with lengthy reshoots and now appears likely to underwhelm at the box office. So I'm pretty sure it will, because all the talk all over the internet is this movie is not looking good at all. It moving on. It says this is all an unprecedented turn of fortune for a company that has enjoyed a nearly uninterrupted string of hits ever since it started independently producing its movies with 2008's Woo! Oh wait, baby, Iron Man. That wildly profitable run culminating in the 2.8 billion success of 2019's Avengers Endgame, which really, yeah, true. A high watermark for the studio that has earned nearly $30 billion over 32 films. Damn. Replicating that kind of phenomenon is never easy. However, the source of Marvel's current troubles can be traced back to 2020 troops when everything started going downhill. That's when the COVID pandemic ushered in a mandate to help boost Disney's stock price with an endless torrent of interconnected Marvel content for the studio's fledgling streaming platform, Disney Plus. According to the plan, there would never be a lapse in superhero fare with either a film in theaters or a new television series streaming streaming at any given moment. I really think they should just drop the TV shows. That's my honest opinion. There's no reason to have them. Like just drop 'em. I don't feel like they've been helping. I feel like they've been hurting because when you look at the TV shows, um, nobody really cares, and it's hard to really follow the TV shows and then throw it all into the movies. It just doesn't make sense. But moving on. But the ensuing tsunami of spandex proved to be too much of a good thing, and the demand of churning out so much programming taxed the Marvel apparatus. It's not really a good thing. Moreover, the need to tease out an interwoven storyline over so many disparate disparate shows, movies, and platforms created a muddled narrative that baffled viewers. Facts. The Marvel machine was pumping out a lot of content. Did it get to the point where there was just too much and they were burning people out on superheroes? Yes, it's possible, says Wall Street analyst Eric Handler, who covers Disney. The more you do, the tougher it is to maintain quality. They try experimenting with breaking in some new characters like Shang-Chi, ain't seen that dude since his movie, and Eternals, hollered out they're getting a sequel with mixed results. With budgets as big as these, you need home runs. The Marvels, well, that's true. The Marvels, which opens in theaters on November 10th, will struggle to get the ball past the infield, at least by Marvel's outside standards. The movie, which cost $250 million and sees Brie Larson reprising her role as Captain Marvel, is tracking to open to $75 to $80 million, far below the $185 million Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness took in domestically in its debut weekend last year. Yeah, nobody wants to see this shit, man. Unfortunately, it's crazy because at one point you could slap the Marvel name on anything and it got fans in seats. Now it ain't having that same effect. Directed by Nia DaCosta, The Marvels unites Larson's heroine with two superpower allies, Tiana Paris, Monica Rambeau, introduced in the 2021 Disney Plus series WandaVision, and Iman Vellani's Kamala Khan, first seen in the 2022 series Ms. Marvel. But instead of seamlessly building on the success of Captain Marvel, duh, this movie resulted in 4 weeks of reshoots to bring coherence to a tangled storyline. I hope this shit don't look bad. I might try and see it open tonight, but probably with the weekend, who knows. Then eyebrows were raised again when DaCosta began working on another film while the Marvels was still in post production. What the fuck? The filmmaker moved to London earlier this year to begin prepping for her Tessa Thompson drama, Hida. A representative for DaCosta declined to comment. Marvel's fucked up. If you're directing a $250 million movie, it's kind of weird for the director to leave with a few months to go, says a source familiar with this production. No shit. The Marvels has seen its release date move back twice. Two, once to swap with Quantumania, which was deemed further along, and again when its debut shifted from July to November to give the filmmakers more time to tinker. But that extra time didn't necessarily help. In June, Marvel, which traditionally only solicits feedback from Disney employees and their friends and family, took the uncharacteristic step of holding a public test screening in Texas. The audience gave the film middling reviews. Yeah, that movie was not good. And of course, you see some of the OG Avengers. But Marvel has never been in the business of being average. Kevin's real superpower has genius has always been in post production and getting his hands on movies and making sure they finished strongly. The source adds, these days he spread thin. Exactly. Foggy declined to comment for the story. Of course he would. I honestly think that again, the TV shows need to be dropped. Maybe he needs to take his boys and his team on another retreat and just really try and focus on what it is that they can do to just focus on the movies and get the movies back right and really try to chart to a new Avengers Endgame with this new series going on instead of putting in TV shows and movies because some things work as a TV show, some things work as a movie, but some of the stuff like with the scrolls should have been an entire saga, not just a 6 episode show where too much stuff was cut out. The CGI looked like crap. Yeah, it's just my opinion. Continuing on, Foggy isn't the only person showing signs of strain. Marvel's entire VFX, this has been a story for months now, battalion, including staffers and vendors, is struggling to keep pace with a never ending stream of productions. This past February, when the credits rolled at the world premiere of Quantumania, shock rippled through the Regency Village Theater in Westwood over some shoddy CGI. CGI has not been good for them for a while now. There were at least 10 scenes where the visual effects had been added at the last minute and were out of focus, says one veteran, power broker, who was there. It wasn't insane. I've never seen something like that in my entire career. Everyone was talking about it. Even the kids of executives were talking about it. That's sad. Continue on. The schedule swap with the Marvels had left the Ant-Man sequel in a squeeze, pushing up its post-production schedule by 4.5 months. Marvel films are known for coming down to the wire, given Feige's ability to foam the runway and land a plane that way, says one executive familiar with how the company operates. But this level of unfinished was unprecedented and would be noted in scathing reviews when the tentpole with the $200 million budget opened 11 days after the premiere. Critics weren't the only ones dismayed. Fed up with 14-hour days and no overtime, damn. Marvel VFX workers voted unanimously to unionize in September, sparking an industry trend. Good for them. 14 hours, my ass. The year 2023 was the straw that broke the camel's back, says former Marvel Studios VFX assistant coordinator Anna George, who appeared before the Congressional Labor Caucus on October 19th to testify about the studio's untenable deadlines and working conditions. The pay and long hours at Marvel were the reason we had to start our fucking up here, uni, unionization process there. The conditions were completely unsustainable. Disney's top brass, including newly returned CEO Bob Iger, was said to be apoplectic about Marvel's VFX troubles 1 month after the Quantumania premiere debacle. I have no idea what the hell that word means. The Guillotine fell on Victoria Alonso, who oversaw the studio's physical production, post production, VFX, and animation. While the reason cited for her abrupt firing was her unauthorized role as an executive producer on the Oscar nominated film Argentina 1985, insiders say Disney was incensed that quality control on its Marvel's productions was plummeting, particularly on the ever expanding TV front. They just need to drop it. The VFX logjam had been evident for some time, with some final effects for such Disney Plus series as WandaVision and She-Hulk Attorney at Law, inserted after the streaming debuts. That Alonso was busy promoting her art house project while Rome burned. Certainly didn't sit well with Disney's leadership. Alonso attorney says her client is unable to comment. Wow, it's a long ass article. But some internal sources suggest Alonso was a scapegoat and point to the She Hulk VFX issues as a symptom of a deeper rot, namely a lack of oversight on script development. In the original arc of She Hulk, a flashback of star Tatiana Maslany transformation into her Hulk character didn't take place until episode 8, the Penelope, I can't pronounce this fucking word, episode But after Marvel's brain trust watched footage, it realized the scene needed to happen in the pilot episode so that audience could see more of the character's backstory early. That means that the VFX team was tasked with fixing the miss in post production. Wow. The so called bad VFX we see was because of half baked scripts, says one person who involved the She Hulk. That is not Victoria. That is Kevin, and even above Kevin. Those issues should be addressed in pre production. The timeline is not allowing the Marvel executives to sit with the material. All the while, Marvel was bleeding money with a single episode of She-Hulk costing some $25 million. You got to be shitting me. Dwarfing the budget of a final season episode of HBO's Game of Thrones, but without a similar zest. Bang. The August 22 season premiere at the El Captain Theater foreshadowed what was to come 6 months later at the Quantumania Bowl. The She Hulk special effects were out of focus in multiple scenes. I didn't care for the show, never finished it. There are signs that the flood of product is leading people to tune out. I'm not prepared to call it a permanent fall, but based on the numbers that go with Marvel podcasts, Marvel based articles, friends who do Marvel based video coverage, all of these numbers are significantly down, says Joanna Robinson, co author of the New York Times bestseller MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. I kind of want to get that book. Who is a writer and podcaster at The Ringer. The quality is suffering. In 2019, at the peak, if you put Marvel Studios in front of something, people were like, oh, that brand means quality. Exactly. That association is no longer the case because there have been so many projects that felt half baked and undercooked. As public criticism mounts, Foggy is pulling the plug on scripts and projects that aren't working. Thank God. Case in point, the Blade reboot, which is a whole nother video, with Mahershala Ali signed on for the eponymous role of a vampire. Things looked promising for a 2023 release date, but the project has gone through at least five writers, two directors, and one shut down 6 weeks before production. One person familiar with the script, per Permushi, well, I'm fucking up words again, says the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons. Blade was relegated to the fourth lead, a bizarre idea considering that the studio had two-time Oscar winner Ali on board. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. I think they just need to scrap this movie altogether because it just doesn't make sense with all the trouble that it's had. Just sit on it, try and come back at a later date when they got all their ducks in a row. Continuing on, amid reports that Ali was ready to exit over script issues, Foggy went back to the drawing board and hired Michael Green, the Oscar nominated writer of Logan, to start anew. Hopefully, it gets better. Speculation around town is that the studio is looking to make the film now slated for the 2025 on a budget of less than 100 mil. They just bleed money. A deviation from Marvel's big spending strategy, which I think they need to cut back on spending. TV shows and spending. With Iger publicly acknowledging the downside of a Marvel TV glut that diluted focus and attention, the keepers of the comic book empire are considering some dramatic moves. Need to. Sources say there have been talks to bring back the original gang for an Avengers movie. Fuck no. I'm getting to that why I think that's a bad idea. This would include reviving Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, both of whom were killed off in Endgame. No lie, would I sit through this? Hell yeah, I have my tickets probably open late and try and get off work. But I just don't think they should. Let me continue. That shouldn't be a stumbling block in comic books. Beloved characters are often killed off only to be resurrected thanks to the powers of things like the multiverse. But the studio hasn't yet committed to the idea. If it were able to bring those actors back, it wouldn't come cheap. Sources say Downey Jr.'s upfront salary for Iron Man 3 was around 25 mil. And that was years ago. But I'm going to get into my reason why I think this is a bad idea. When you look at wrestling, you had back in, like I say, it's golden days. Back in the Attitude Era, you had The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Triple H. You had all these great wrestlers, right? And then fast forward to some years later, when they finally stepped down and moved on to do other things, you had new wrestlers step up, right? And that's kind of what's going on with Marvel. The old guard is not there. So the new guard has to step up and take charge. But without a direction, what are they supposed to do? They're just chasing their own tail. When you look at WrestleMania season in WWE, they bring back a lot of the old wrestlers to try and hype up, you know, WrestleMania season. But that is just a quick fix. That is not a permanent fix, and that's what I think Marvel, Disney trying to bring back the old guard, the OG Avengers, is trying to do. Have a quick fix that's not a long term solution. It's just a one time thing, and then once they go back and leave, you're still stuck with the same problem. So I don't think this is going to help. So moving forward. Will that solve Marvel's major problem? No. When the Quantumania actor was arrested in March, Disney executives insisted they could afford to play a wait and see game, given that Avengers The Kang Dynasty wasn't expected to begin shooting until early 2024. But the majors was dropped in quick succession by his publicist and managers. I remember reading about that. He remains a client at WME, the agency where he landed after CAA parted ways with him pre-arrest for his brutal conduct toward staff, says one source. CAA declined to comment. In April, other alleged domestic violence victims of Majors began cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Then, ahead of a key hearing in October, media outlets, including Variety, obtained a court filing that referenced a police incident in London involving Majors that led his ex girlfriend to seek medical attention. Whew, making matters even stickier, the ex girlfriend also worked on Quantumania as a movement coach, and the London incident took place while Majors was shooting season 2 of Loki. On October 25th, a New York judge denied Majors' motion to dismiss the case. They are dragging the fuck out of this thing, which ensures that the actor will stand trial in late November. His legal team is attempting to keep some material in the case sealed. A studio source notes that regardless of the actor's legal issues, Marvel's already had considered moving away from a majors led phase because of the box office performance of Quantum Mania, which I don't think they should just off one movie. It's a lot of moving parts. The downfall of Marvel came way before Quantum Mania. But moving on, didn't okay, Quantumania, which will struggle to make a profit. It gave people pause given that Quantumania didn't exactly land, the source says. On October 27th, Disney removed another major film, Searchlight's Magazine Dreams, from the release calendar. Yeah, this dude has been suffering badly with a lot of movies that have been getting pulled from him that he was supposed to star in. Recasting Majors is also an option, as Foggy did when he replaced Terrence Howard. I could see that, but I still like Majors with Don Cheadle. In fact, Marvel isn't afraid to change direction. Even after making splashy announcements, Armor Wars was first unveiled as a series, is now being developed as a feature. I think that'd be cool. While the studios push to adapt the comic book Inhumans, no idea who they are, into a feature film generated headlines, but is now dormant. The now defunct Marvel Television mounted an Inhumans TV series in 2017 that ran for one season on ABC. Moving on. Whew, so much to read. Still, there was one bright spot in 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which became Marvel's biggest draw of the year with $845 million worldwide. The fact that it was directed by James Gunn, the guy now running rival DC Studios, was lost on no one. I still gotta watch that too. I haven't seen it. With Marvel, it used to be as close to a guarantee as you can get. Damn right, says Paul. I'm trying to pronounce the last name. A box office analyst at Comic Source. So going all in on the budget made sense. Guardians 3 was a bit overlooked in how successful it was, but that had James Gunn and Chris Pratt, and I think star power is becoming more important. Then there was Quantumania with $476 million. Anything under a $500 million is viewed as a disappointment. Not a lie there. And these overachieving expectations are a result of so much success over the years. That's true. I don't think just because Marvel's movies don't crack $1 billion, that doesn't mean it's a failure. It's still a success as long as it makes its money back and then some. The key to reinvigorating Marvel may lie with the superior arsenal that Disney acquired during its 2019 purchase of 21st Century Fox. That deal brought several blue chip heroes such as the X-Men and the Fantastic Four back under the studio's control. Already fans are geeking out about next year's Deadpool 3. Yeah, I hope it's gonna be good. Which unites Ryan Reynolds, Merc with a mouth with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and a reboot of Fantastic Four, slated for 2025. I hope they get this right after all the shit we've been through. I didn't even watch, I think, what, the 2015, 14, 13, whatever year the Michael B. Jordan Fantastic Four movie came out. Didn't see it. Still don't plan on watching it. I've seen clips, but that's it. As a bonus, the Fox editions give Foggy an opportunity to reimagine the X-Men franchise. I hope they do it right and let Scott lead, because Logan already had his whole time to shine for the last 15, 20 years in the last X-Men phase. So let Scott be a leader and let him shine. The very first property he cut his teeth on as a young executive at Lauren Schuler Donner's production company. Now that the WGA strike is in the rearview mirror, Marvel has started talking to writers about bringing the X-Men into the MCU. Yes! While Feige recalibrates the rest of the industry, is anxiously hoping that Marvel's best days are not behind it. Writing the Marvel obituary would be ill-advised, says Jason Squire, professor emeritus at USC School of Cinematic Arts and host of the Movie Business Podcast. Kevin Feige is the Babe Ruth of movie executives, and Marvel has the most profitable track record in movie history. No question. Now, I'm not arguing that at all, but I do feel like they need to write the shit, drop the TV shows, like let whatever comes out next year come out, and then after that, drop it, and then from there, just focus on the movies and trying to write the ship, and um, try to figure out what movies are going to help get to, no pun intended, the end game of this next phase, and pull out, destroy whatever is not. That is just my opinion. But hopefully things get better with Marvel, because I've said it before. They've felt the high of the highs, now they're feeling the low of the lows. And since they're already sitting down, there's nowhere else to go but up. So you post your comments down below. You let me know what you think about this long ass article. If anybody wants to support my channel, I'll have a link to my Cash App below. I never expected it. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you all for watching. I'll check in my next video. Peace. I'm out.